Okay, so I'm saying everything is a scam. That's a pretty big statement, right? Something that requires some sort of support or evidence to back it up. But I want to be more specific in what I mean by everything is a scam. And what I mean is that most avenues where you could spend your time or life at are trying to leverage your human capital, your energy, your intention, and all of the stuff that you have as a human being that can make something become a reality. And whether it's a corporation, some institution, a music company, whatever it is, a record label, they are taking this resource, it is consciousness, your ability to make something happen, to become real. They are taking that to make their things, the things that they want, the resources and money that they require to be real. So they're using that from you to make that real. Now, I'm going to preface this with, I'm a very optimistic person. I have a tendency to believe that most people have good hearts, and I like to see the best in all of people. In most people, I like to see the best in them. But in my experience in this world, I have been to university. I've been to a top tier research university, the University of California, Berkeley. I worked in the tech industry. I worked at a company called Airbnb in San Francisco. I've been around, and I worked at a bank as a data analyst. And in my experience through this reality, just by being objective, again, I'm an optimist. I'm not a jaded pessimist. I wasn't going through the world thinking, oh, it's horrible, everybody's evil, all this stuff. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just observing. And my observation showed me that people gave up their potential for safety. And you start to think, like I completely understand, people have bills, they have responsibilities and other people to take care of and stuff. But I would always wonder, why does it seem like they are accepting this reality where it seems like they're operating on fumes, you're uninspired and you go to this corporate job where you're working on half energy because you just don't care about what you're doing at all. And I think to myself, imagine what these people can do if they were fully 100% invested, if they fully cared. And, I think we all know the answer to that question. They could probably do amazing things. And I think sometimes people, they think to themselves that, oh, I'm not a special person. I don't have talent. I'm not one of those people. You have to be born. You have to be those people that have that it factor. And sure, there are some people that have that it factor, but what is the it factor? I would argue that the it factor is just 100% pure, unadulterated belief in oneself. The belief that you are meant to do something great, something awesome, amazing, to have an impact in this world, to impact others, to help other people, grow, to be able to impact others as well. And so what I wanted to talk about with respect to everything being a scam, I'll use an example. One example is the record labels. And I think a lot of people know about this if you've paid attention to the lives of Prince or Michael Jackson, some of these big artists, how they were going to blow the cover of these record labels. And the essentially the record label executives, the music industry executives, the big guys that are making all the money. And they would talk about how they have these ridiculous contracts that essentially take away all ownership, and they are pretty much all their money is essentially a loan that they have to pay back to these record labels. So it's just an overall cruddy situation for them. They end up becoming somewhat just slaves to the record labels. And that the idea is that people, these musicians, these talented people, they have something. They have the ability to create something that could connect with others, that people just feel, close with. Like Prince's music and Michael Jackson's music has impacted a lot of people. It had affected a lot of people's lives. People loved these musicians and stuff. And instead of this ability to connect with these people and everything go to the people who were able to build those connections, it is sort of being leveraged by these record label executives. And so And I'm not saying that there isn't, that it's bad for people to work together and for there to be business partnerships. Obviously, one person can't do everything. It takes an entire team to do something, and everybody should be paid fairly for the work that they did. And they should understand that it is not just one person that is making this possible. But what I'm saying is that for the most part, these musicians, they turn into these almost like content engines, kind of like having to be a YouTuber. You know, you have to keep putting out content. Well, these musicians, they have to keep making music. They just become a work monkey. And another arena where this happens in, or another domain, is in the research domain, academia, you know, at research universities. And there's this analogy that I had from my observation when I was doing research, when I was doing undergraduate research, and also I took some graduate level courses where I was doing research there. And I come to realize that a lot of the professors and people were really proud about how many research papers they could put out in a semester or in a year. And I come to realize that, whoa, okay, so becoming a researcher or becoming a professor is kind of like being a YouTuber. Like, you're like a content creator, except the content that you're creating is academic literature, and the people who are consuming that content are other researchers and other PhDs and stuff, and they are critiquing that content and they're building off of that content and stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's really just the same thing as content creation. It's just a different setting. And I'm like, so it kind of seems like, you know, you're put on this content wheel. You're on a wheel of having to collect data, do research and stuff. And then the people who get the most amount of profit are the universities. And what I'm just trying to say is that there are several places, there are several avenues where people are willing to accept your human capital, whether that is your pure talent, or your expertise, however you developed your expertise, whether you went to school or whatever, the things that you've learned, the abilities that you have to do awesome things, to make things into reality. They are leveraging that for themselves. And I do believe that for most people, the way to get the most out of every amount of work that you have, out of your entire human capital, from your own intention, your energy, attitude, all of that stuff, the best way to get full ownership of that is to really just be a business owner, you know? And it's scary. I guess it's not for everybody, but just something that I noticed in this world is that there are so many people that are willing to let you sort of just waste your human capital on things that don't matter to you and things that won't have an impact or won't leave a legacy. Now, I feel like this was kind of a yapping type of video. It was really unstructured. Well, all of them are unstructured. And if you made it to this part of the video, I really appreciate you for you listening to this. It means that you resonate with this in some way, or I don't know, maybe you're just interested. But nonetheless, I appreciate you for making it to the end of this video. If you do like raw talks like this is what this channel is all about. I post a video like this every day at 6 p.m. So if you're interested in that, please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like the video, please like the video. It helps in the algorithm. And leave a comment if there's something more that I missed out. Maybe you completely disagree with me. Obviously, this isn't a comprehensive, exhaustive essay or presentation on this. It's just free balling stream of consciousness type of thing. So I for sure didn't cover the full scope of everything in detail. But yeah, if you have any comments, please leave them and I'll try to respond to them as soon as possible. All right, take care.